Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Jared James Nichols, the Blues Power Messiah, and I am here to rock.
Let's start with the elephant in the room, the thumb.
Yes, yes.
Could you explain a little more about how that technique developed?
Sure. So, I write left-handed, and originally I tried to play guitar as a lefty. And I remember the first lesson I ever had. It's funny, the street's right here. I remember the first lesson I ever had. My teacher said, "Hey man, you gotta flip the guitar. You're playing it the wrong way." And I said, "Okay." He said, "If you don't flip it, I'm gonna get a headache trying to, teach you." So I flipped it, and originally I played with my thumb. And I remember he looked at me and he said, "You're totally missing it. You need to use a guitar pick." So for about 5 years, I got really good at using a guitar pick, but I always felt like I really loved the feeling of the strings under my fingers when I was playing. Just like on this hand, when you can feel the strings and when you're doing bends. And with this, I wanted to have the same kind of feel. So every note that I play, I could feel. And I remember it started slowly. I originally started chicken picking. So I would play with the pick and use my ring finger to pull up and get this kind of clicky sound. And then I remember I saw a guy take his pick and put it in between his finger, and then I could use these two. And then after a while, I just put it on the amp. So my thumb is a downstroke. So if I go, and my index and my middle are always an up. So if I were to pick, I would go. Or if I want to do 3, it's 1, 2, 3. And I would go. But I found out that I could really start doing a lot of different things when you could snap up on the strings. A big hero of mine was Albert King, and he would play in a style that was... And you get a very percussive attack. Albert Kahn's a... And then also you could do the country stuff where it was very chicken picking that. So it gave my licks a whole new spirit, and I really got in love with it. And there's a big point of me that tries to not make it sound like you're playing without a pick, and then make it sound like you're not. So there's times when I'll play and I'll be very... And then you'll hear me play and I go... So I think it's really cool, and I remember when I specifically did it, it gave me a new lease on guitar playing. All my licks sounded fresh.
Cool. And how long did it take you to find your personal sound with this technique?
Well, like most guitar players, we're always searching for our sound. And when I first started, I was playing guitar for maybe 45 minutes a day, and then it progressed 2 hours, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to, at some points I was playing guitar 10 hours a day. And I remember in the back of my head, I was always trying to find, like, what is my sound? What will it be, And when I started playing with my fingers, I found that was the closest I ever felt to being comfortable playing. So I would record myself, and I had GarageBand on an old computer, and I would record myself playing. And the things that I would record is, me playing certain licks and playing over different tracks. And I would start to hear things that almost it was like, oh, okay, that starts to sound like me. I think it's what we do is we take maybe 10 of our favorite influencers on guitar, and we take the things we love from them, and we put them all together and we max it up, and you kind of stir it around. So for me, it was like, I love the attitude and the power of Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love the massiveness and the huge sound of Leslie West and the vibrato of Eric Clapton and these things, and I mixed it up. And eventually, after years of playing, I started to kind of find my own voice. I don't think it was really until I was maybe, playing without a pick maybe for 6 or 7 years till I found that. It took a very long time for me, but I never gave up, and every single day when I played guitar, I just always wanted to capture the passion and the spirit behind it, and just keep pushing forward.
And when in that process did you find out that you didn't need the
neck pickup? Very shortly after I started playing with my fingers. I remember that when I was playing, where my hand generally would be is where the neck pickup is, and I didn't have room to pick. And I remember I'd hit my hands and I'd and whenever I play with my fingers on a neck pickup, it's so delicate and so gentle sounding, and if I really smash it, it just kind of sounded thuddy. It was just very, So I was always generally on the bridge pickup, and I remember one day I was playing and it was in my way and I was doing a thing, I was on the bridge pickup and I was going like, and I was missing notes, and I said, if this pickup wasn't here, I would have such an easier time. What did I do? Took it out. And all of a sudden it was like I could... It was amazing. So I took that out and then I said, well, I won't need a toggle switch. So I took out the toggle switch. Won't need that volume or that tone. And I was left with this kind of configuration. And, I love it so much. It's so simple, but it calls for such a master of your volume, your tone, and really how you play.
Mm-hmm.
You have to discover all the sounds in something so simple.
And at least now you don't even have the slot for the neck.
I know. Usually I do. Usually I have the big holes and everything. And it's like, what's wrong with this guy and his guitars? But now I've cleaned up. Obviously I've changed my ways, and we have it in a really nice, cool, kind of sleek design.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
When did you get in touch with Blackstar?
So when I first moved to Los Angeles from Wisconsin, where I'm from, I met a guy named Phil, and I met him through this long-winded thing. I won a guitar contest, and he was one of the judges. And he said, hey man, I got a studio. It's called Swing House Studios. And I remember he said, come on over, get some guys, come over and jam. So I go to his studio, and there's a room there, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't bring an amp. He's like, it's okay, we got tons. And he goes, we actually have Blackstars in every room. This was in 2011. And I said, what's a Blackstar, man? I had no idea. And I remember I walked in the room and it was a Blackstar Series 1 50 watt. It was with a 412, and I thought, what is this Blackstar? So I start jamming on it and I'm like, man, this sounds pretty good. It had a lot of attack, a lot of attitude, but it also cleaned up really nice. I said, man, what is up with this amp? So in every single room in his rehearsal studio, he had different models of Blackstars. And I thought it was so cool that the first moment I plugged in LA, I plugged in through a Blackstar. So we started touring, and I said, hey Phil, can I take a Blackstar with me on the road? He said, yeah, so he got me one, I took it on the road, and we started touring in Europe. He said, hey, Blackstar can give you, an amp to use while you're on tour. So it was a very natural progression. I would say the relationship truly started in about 2013, and just up until last July, they approached me at the Summer NAMM show in Nashville, and they said, hey man, we want to do a signature amp with you. And I couldn't believe it. To me it was almost like a full circle thing. And I know their amp so well. And for me to have one with my name on it, and for me to have that full circle, and the best part is I know all their amps so well, so I was able to put all of my favorite sounds in one. And it was just amazing. And I think it's such a great company. They're such great amps, such great products. I've been using these Blackstars since January, and I haven't had one problem, nothing, and they're slamming, man.
Are there any models in particular that you were aiming for?
Absolutely. Well, they have a model called the Artist 30. I love the cleans in the Artist 30. They have a model called the Artisan. It's more of a vintage high gain. I love the way that breaks up. It has that, so I can get those cleans of an Artist 30, the breakup of the Artisan models, and then of course I get all the punch and the drive of their Series 1 stuff. So to me it's like, it's more than enough stuff. I can go from this nice clean to a nice breakup. And then we go to the blues power channel and we have the super high gain, which is really cool, is the so there's so much I can do with it, and it has more tone than I'll ever need.
Cool.
It's pretty awesome.
Cool. Do you ever miss the pick and the neck pickup?
No, but you know what? For me and the way that I play, I don't miss it, but I really do love to listen to other people. You know, I'll see a guy with a Les Paul, and I'll have it on the neck pickup, and he'll be playing with the pick, and I go, man, that's awesome. That sounds so good, you know? But for me personally, in the way that I play, nah, I think I'm cool. You know, I think that maybe as I get older, maybe I'll change my ways, but who knows?
You've been touring recently a lot as both a musician and a clinician.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is there one of the two disciplines that you feel more at home with?
Yeah, definitely the touring. Yeah, for me, it's a lot easier to be on the road and playing in a band. I think that, you know, when I'm surrounded by other musicians and, you know, we're all on stage together, it's a different vibe. And as a clinician, it's funny when you start jamming and it's only you. But this has really forced me to really read a crowd and play in a different way. And I think it's really helped my guitar playing a ton. There's nothing to hide behind. And every single day I get to dig deeper and deeper into my tone, which I think is really cool. And it's made me realize a lot more of what it is I actually love about the gear. And one thing's for certain, the more I play it, the more I love it. There's never a point where I'm like, oh man, I really wish I would have changed this, or, you know, I wish the neck were... It's like the more I play it, the more I get into it. So I think that I love both worlds. I feel a little more at home touring, but there is the part of me that with the clinicians, it's just so much more fun.
Has that also altered how you approach playing with a band?
Yeah, of course. You know, I think there's more consideration to tone. There's more consideration to the actual feel of it. And if anything, it's really helped me understand my technique even more because I tell people about it every day. And it's cool because I even learn from that. So there's points where I'll be playing something and I'll use a certain fingering for it. And then the next day I'll go, what if I, you know, ooh, that's even, you know. And it's even, you know, I'm learning and growing as a player. And I think traveling and seeing the world, being able to play guitar, it's amazing. Like on this clinic tour, I think I'm doing like 17 countries. So it's pretty crazy.
It is.
It's really cool.
So what are your plans for the near future?
Plans for the near future? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to have a sip of beer.
That's very near future.
The plans for the near future? Well, we have a really cool tour coming up in July with Living Colour. We're doing a show here in the Netherlands. I think it's on the 13th of July. Then we do 2 weeks in the UK. I'm also playing Wacken and a bunch of different festivals. I'm really excited about that this summer. We're getting ready to release some new music with the trio. And then we have to go to a big tour in Japan, China, Australia, back in America. And, you know, I'll just keep on pushing. So I think I'm on the road most of the year. And, you know, I just... not stopping anytime soon, man. Just trying to take over the world.
One step at a time.
One shred at a time.
Jared, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, brother. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Is that okay?